In the criminal justice system, the people,
pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care,
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law. You're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
The world's longest-serving death row inmate, 88-year-old former boxer, acquitted of the 1966 murders that he was convicted of in Japan.
How long
there
has
you
he
see
been in
him.
jail?
Hamakeda's 91-year-old sister, Hideko, who's long advocated for her brother's acquittal, seen celebrating with him outside the court after this verdict. It is an insane miscarriage of justice. He was initially convicted of murdering his employer at the miso soybean paste factory where he worked. He was granted a retrial in 2014 and was released from prison after DNA evidence surfaced that called into question the reliability of his initial conviction. There was a debate central to the retrial case of purported bloodstains on 5 items of clothing found in a tank used for making miso. And prosecutors argued that the clothing belonged to Hamakata. The ex-boxer's lawyers argued the evidence had been planted and that stains on clothing would not stay red for such an extended period of time after the incident. Well, this past week, within the last week, the judge presiding over the retrial agreed with the defense that the bloodstains would not remain reddish on clothing after being soaked in miso paste for more than a year. That, with the DNA evidence, was enough to reverse the conviction. But sadly, again, as mentioned, he is 88 years old.
So he's been in jail for 60 years of his life?
Yeah.
Wow.
Glenn Ray Simmons, the longest serving inmate to be declared innocent of a crime, is suing the city of Edmond, Oklahoma, and a former police detective following his exoneration. He was on death row, spent nearly 50 years on death row, now is suing for $7 million. And in Oklahoma City has agreed to pay more than $7 million to him after his exoneration. He was the longest-serving inmate to be declared innocent of a crime. The Edmond City Council voted without comment on Monday to settle this lawsuit filed by Glenn Ray Simmons, Glynn Ray Simmons. He's 71 years old. And the statement, Mr. Simmons spent a tragic amount of time incarcerated for a crime he did not commit, although he will never get that time back. This settlement with Edmond will allow him to move forward with his life. And again, there is an Oklahoma City detective who also investigated the robbery and the shooting, and that lawsuit remains pending. So he's settled with the town, the city of Edmond, Oklahoma, but not yet with the detectives. The mayor of New York, as mentioned by Kim, he is hip deep in it in New York. And I don't know if you covered the cell phone situation, Kim. Did you mention it?
I mentioned cell phone outages, but not as in regards to Mayor Adams.
In Mayor Adams' case, he had a cell phone that he surrendered to authorities. You know, remember they raided his place. They also raided the homes and offices of some of his constellation of political connections. And he gave those phones up without any kind of issue. But as it turns out, he changed his cell phone password just one day before the FBI seized his electronic devices. He says he did that in order to preserve the contents of his phone for the investigation.
Oh, that's nice.
Only problem is he can't remember the password.
What?
My bad. I'm sorry. Forgot the password.
Yeah. So a federal judge would have to sign off on a search warrant before federal IT guys could try to crack into the lock device. And it's unclear whether they'll be able to pull it off. But that is the continuing saga of the mayor of New York and the cell phone for which he has forgotten the password.
I don't blame him for forgetting. I mean, I've set a password and then the next day forgotten it. So
Sure,
maybe it happens.
It does happen. Sometimes it doesn't even take me a full day to forget the password.
See? There you go.
The UFC's parent company is agreeing to a $375 million settlement in a class action lawsuit brought by former fighters. They allege anti-competitive practices against those fighters. The agreement disclosed in a filing by TKO, that's UFC's parent company, to the Securities and Exchange Commission of the U.S., and it will settle all claims for the aggregate amount of $375 million. Aggregate is a ding word. The suit was originally filed in 2014 by a retired fighter and then picked up additional athletes. The initial athletes had fought for the UFC between 2010 and 2017, according to reports. This class action began to pick up steam, and the 9-figure settlement is there, but it may not be the end of UFC litigation. There continues to be a lot of question about various practices at the UFC. And finally, I will leave you with this, and then we'll get to True Crime Corner. New evidence is claiming that Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon could very well be listening to you on your devices.
What?
Of course they are. Absolutely they are.
Companies want to know what potential customers are searching for online. They use that information. They can target each internet user with an ad for a product or service that, of course, is relevant to what they're looking for. But people don't always perform online searches for everything that they want, right? And listening to potential customers is another way that they can begin to market to you. And so Cox Media Group pitched an idea to potential advertising partners, according to a report from 404 Media. And they say that the pitch deck included active listening as a way to target advertising based on smart devices like smartphones, smart speakers, and smart TVs. And so they said in their sales pitch, this is a great way for you to market to those that you're not reaching right now with pure search. And so, look, as Kim says, yeah, I know, it makes sense. Of course, we're talking about something and then it shows up, as an ad.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, but this suggests that it's actually an active listening, which is pitched and adopted by Meta, by Amazon, by Google, and Microsoft. So, how do you feel about that? And is it legal for our phones to listen to us? Exactly. I mean, on some level, this would appear to be kind of a breach of what we understand to be privacy, right? But on another level, we've grown so used to it, witness the fact that Kim goes, yeah, no kidding. I mean, it has to be that way, that maybe it'll be a meh at the end. There should be a way to opt out of that at very
There totally
minimum.
should be. You should be able to, because it's not just, I know they're listening for marketing reasons, but what if you were involved in something, you're having sexy time, or you were involved in a crime. I don't know, things you don't want people listening to.
Who is having that conversation?
Not that there's a lot of that going on over here, but I'm just saying, I don't want
I've never
Google to
seen
know
anything
everything.
like it.
Right.
People listening to me yell at my children, come on.
Yeah.
There's a reason that this place is fun.
That is Law and Disorder.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.